Ilia Topuria has just stated as to why he won't be coming back anytime soon to defend his belt. It's because his wife is accusing him of DV, if y'all know what that means. I don't want the video to get taken down. It's a very serious allegation, and it's recently just been confirmed by Ilia himself, even though we sort of had other sources telling us the same thing. That being said, I think Armin might be a bit more sympathetic as to why the lightweight division is being stalled right now. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was one of those people. Hopefully this man gets his kids back and we won't see Justin Gaethje suffer the poorest divorce, Ilia Topuria, without his kids.
He's a wife beater. The explosive claim ripped through the UFC, instantly throwing Ilia Topuria's smooth championship reign into unprecedented chaos. Serious allegations of domestic violence from his ex-wife suddenly flipped the lightweight division on its head. This wasn't about injury, it was a personal scandal of immense magnitude, threatening to permanently scar the undefeated Georgian Spanish star's legacy. The fight world held its breath, wondering how a champion could vanish so abruptly under such devastating circumstances. This hit directly at his public image, halting his meteoric rise.
These allegations are entirely unfounded. The truth is not a matter of opinion, it is a matter of evidence. All relevant evidence has been carefully preserved and documented, including audio recordings, written communications, witness statements, and video material. This evidence has been submitted to appropriate judicial authorities in order to pursue legal action for attempted extortion, falsification of evidence, misappropriation of funds and personal property, and multiple threats. My initial decision to remain silent was made solely to protect my children, who are the most important part of my life. However, I've come to understand that silence under these circumstances does not protect the truth. It allows false narratives to take hold. Many individuals have faced similar situations, and time and again, the legal system has ultimately clarified the facts. Today, I'm stepping forward not only for my family and myself, but also to demonstrate that no one should be forced to yield to intimidation, manipulation, or fear. Those who know me can attest that I have never engaged in violence of any kind, and that my life and career have always been guided by discipline, respect, and integrity. I have full confidence in the judicial process and will allow the legal system to determine the facts based on evidence. Out of respect for my children and the ongoing legal proceedings, I will not be making any further public statements. I respectfully ask that speculation be avoided and that my family's privacy be honored during this sensitive time. The truth does not require volume, it requires facts. Thank you, Ilia Topuria. So that is heavy duty stuff. Obviously, we knew that he was going through some personal issues and there's rumors online, and I didn't want to partake in any of those. I had not heard any of this. I had not heard any of these allegations or rumors, innuendo, any of that.
Topuria quickly broke his silence, but not with an admission. He painted a starkly different picture, claiming he was subjected to severe and unacceptable pressure, including threats to disseminate false allegations unless hefty financial demands were met. He insisted these were fabricated, a calculated attempt at extortion. This shifted the narrative from simple accusation to complex legal battle, where the champion fought not only for his name but against blackmail. The stakes escalated dramatically, positioning him as a victim of a targeted, financially motivated attack.
I kind of knew this was the situation when Ilia first announced that he was going to be stepping away. I'll mention that at some point in this video. Bryce Mitchell has immediately weighed in on the situation aggressively. Had a lot of harsh words for Ilia Topuria. Early doors on the whole situation, but Bryce Mitchell has massively condemned Ilia Topuria and gone after him. And he's angling, I guess he's pushing now for a fight with Alejandro Topuria and said he's down to fight him. They're both in the same weight class now at bantamweight, so that could be something that comes from this as well. Bryce Mitchell versus Alejandro Topuria, and the Nelk Boys clip from a while ago. We'll see if that ages well in hindsight once we go through this whole court situation, because I'm going to read you the statement here, and this is what it comes down to. Ilia Topuria's official statement. He comes out with this, gets ahead of the stories, gets ahead of the news before they break it down or before we randomly find out about it as they're going through the court situation. And this is it.
His defense wasn't just words. Topuria stated he had carefully preserved and documented substantial evidence. This included audio recordings, written communications, witness statements, and even video material, all meticulously collected to prove his innocence. This wasn't a spontaneous outburst, but a preemptive measure to counter damaging claims. He wasn't relying on public opinion. He was building a watertight legal case, ready to face the storm head-on with concrete facts. The revelation of this evidence immediately added layers of complexity, suggesting a deeper, long-running conflict.
Well, I got something for you. It's called the Wife Beater Special. That's right, I got my wife beater on for Ilia Topuria. That puts his hands on a woman. You know, I grew up without a dad. You know, never seen my dad, never will see my dad. And you know what? I'd rather not see my dad than have my dad there beating on my mom. Let me tell you something, what that'll get you killed around these parts, son. That shit no joke. There ain't nothing funny about it, and I just had to let you know you're a straight up for that. And your brother's a bitch too. I'll fight him, I'll beat his ass. You got lucky I was sick or I'd have beat your ass. And look, you don't deserve to get to see your kids, son, because you put your hands on their mother. You're a coward. That shit is sickening. Ilia, you need to repent, return to Jesus Christ, and if you repent, you won't rot in hell, bro. But you better really mean it, and you better really repent, and probably stop drinking too. You probably got a drinking problem, man. Return to Jesus Christ, you will be forgiven, and if not, you're gonna rot in hell, bro, because that's where women beaters go. One more thing for you, Ilia. Wives ain't like belts, okay? It ain't the more the merrier. You're supposed to have one man, one woman, to become one, okay? You're out running around working on your third wife now. Hell, you think they're championship belts, and you're trying to get 3 or 4. You're an idiot, dude. You need to take notes from a guy like me.
The fighter emphasized the devastating, life-altering impact of false allegations, regardless of their truth. He explained that even if ultimately proven untrue, such accusations would forever be a part of his public reputation, permanently associating him with the abuser label in many minds. This irreversible damage to one's character, he argued, far outweighed any immediate fight. It was a battle for his entire future, a fight for his name that transcended the octagon. This personal insight revealed the true weight of the situation, making clear why he prioritized his legal struggle.
Me and Topuria's got the storyline built in. It's all there. It's half nice for me that he won the belt, even though I don't like him. I'd rather him not be a 2-division champ. It's better for me that he won the belt, because if Charles would have won, then I definitely would have had to fight someone else first. You know what I mean? But with Ilia having the belt, it's just a storyline's already set up. It's all ready to go. Exactly. So I don't understand why it's not announced and why it's not already made and written in a contract.
At just 26, Topuria was at the absolute zenith of his career, riding an unprecedented wave of momentum. He had just delivered a stunning knockout of Charles Oliveira, cementing his status as lightweight champion, adding to the featherweight belt he already owned. Many anticipated him becoming one of the sport's most active and dominant champions, a true dual-weight king. His ascent was rapid, his future seemingly limitless. Yet, this incredible high made his sudden disappearance from the octagon even more jarring, leaving the entire division frozen by uncertainty.
Well, I think everyone's going to be shocked, to be honest, because I think I'm going to knock him out. So, people won't expect that. People think I'm just going to try and grapple and take him down, but I'm not. I'm going to come out and I'm going to put it on.
Expecting an early knockout, a late knockout, somewhere in the middle?
I don't see him getting past the third, just like Chandler.
Back in November, Topuria quietly informed the UFC he needed time away, offering minimal details. This initial silence fueled rampant speculation across social media, with rumors swirling about everything from undisclosed injuries to contract stalemates. The vacuum of information allowed the public imagination to run wild, creating fertile ground for gossip and unverified claims. Nobody guessed the true, darker reason behind his absence, the personal battle he was already silently waging behind the scenes. The eventual revelation would prove far more shocking than any initial theories.
Paddy's not bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again, Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness, in my opinion.
According to Topuria, the situation with his ex-wife had severely escalated. He revealed that individuals involved began demanding significant sums of money for their silence regarding fabricated abuse claims. This transformation from dispute to outright financial blackmail cemented his conviction that the allegations were baseless and opportunistic. The stress of this escalating pressure, particularly protecting his family, forced him to retreat from public life. This was no longer just a personal squabble. It was a criminal enterprise in his view, demanding serious legal action.
That night 8 years ago, what's like the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that fight with Justin?
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch or anything like that, because that would have never. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but if you want to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to. So he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket. And he's gonna throw everything he got in that pocket. If you don't meet him, you'll get chewed up. So Paddy, the way to beat a guy who like does this, very violent, aggressive pressure fighter, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave, and you have to go when he goes in between his shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not brave and courageous and throw when he throws in between his shots, it's going to be a really long night. It's going to be a hard night for you.
Rather than engaging in a media circus, Topuria consciously chose the legal route through official channels. He systematically gathered overwhelming proof, recorded conversations, written messages, witness testimonies, and video footage. All this material was formally submitted to judicial authorities, signaling his intent to pursue charges. He aimed not only to clear his name, but to prosecute those responsible for extortion, threats, and evidence manipulation. His confidence in the legal system to uncover truth, free from public spectacle, became his guiding principle.
They're not even, like, they're just basically saying Paddy's more popular, you're getting it over Armin.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? And that's, I mean, God, I hate like how I kind of get into this too much, but I mean, that's really like, that's the definition of, you know, a monopoly where a single promoter owns the title and the rankings. And it's not a good thing for the sport, in my opinion. And I have to question what it's going to do for the longevity of the sport. You know, I don't think in the short term, it's really going to make a big difference, right? Like, you know, it's going to sell the next fight, right? It's going to sell the next pay-per-view, but trends tend to come and go, right? Fads tend to come and go. At some point, like, you know, to have staying power and lasting power, I think it requires, you know, a meritocracy-based system. It's going to require, you know, some, you know, if you want to bring in guys like Armin Tsarukyan or Movsar Evloev, I always mess up how I say his name. You want to bring in these Olympic wrestling level guys. I mean, they don't want to have to go out there and put on some ridiculous show to become a champion. They don't want to have to go on Instagram and start a podcast and make you know, whatever kind of skits on social media and this silly kind of stuff. Like, they just want to be a world champion because they want to be the best athlete. And that's what makes me wonder how the staying power is going to be, right? When you're dealing with guys that are, you know, legitimate athletes that want to be legitimate athletes, and they're getting passed up by guys that are entertainers.
In a comprehensive public statement, Topuria laid out his position. Allegations were entirely unfounded, and truth is not a matter of opinion, it is a matter of evidence. He reiterated that all relevant proof had been submitted to judicial authorities to pursue action for attempted extortion, falsification of evidence, misappropriation of funds and property, and multiple threats. He explained his initial silence was to protect his children, but recognized silence allowed false narratives to take hold. This powerful declaration solidified his commitment to exposing truth through legal process, not public argument. Topuria eloquently articulated his pivot from silence, explaining he understood that under these circumstances, silence did not protect truth but allowed false narratives to take hold. He invoked countless individuals who faced similar situations, where the legal system ultimately clarified facts. His decision to step forward was not just for his family, but to demonstrate that no one should be forced to yield to intimidation, manipulation, or fear. This shift in strategy marked a critical turning point, indicating his readiness to publicly fight for justice and his reputation. The champion expressed unwavering confidence in the judicial process, stating he would allow the legal system to determine the facts based on evidence. Out of respect for his children and ongoing legal proceedings, he declared he would not be making any further public statements. He respectfully asked that speculation be avoided and his family's privacy be honored. His closing statement, "The truth does not require volume, it requires facts," served as a powerful testament to his belief in the evidence-based legal route. His public appeal for peace underscored the personal toll of the crisis. The timing of Topuria's indefinite sideline could not have been more disruptive for the UFC. With their lightweight champion out of action, the promotion moved swiftly to maintain momentum in one of its most stacked divisions. An interim title fight was promptly booked. Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, set to headline UFC 34 on January 24th. This quick decision aimed to keep the division dynamic, but it immediately sparked fierce debate among fans and fighters, some seeing it as necessary, others as an unfair bypassing of more deserving contenders. Topuria made it clear he was aware of the interim title plan before its public announcement. He had conversations with the UFC, understanding his personal situation made competing early in the year impossible. From his perspective, crowning an interim champion made logical sense. He even viewed both Gaethje and Pimblett as valid choices, offering congratulations for reaching the closest either might come to holding a world title. However, he issued a stern reminder the real championship would still have to go through him once he made his inevitable return, asserting his claim to the undisputed throne. While many reserved judgment, Bryce Mitchell wasted no time aggressively wading into the situation, offering harsh words for Ilia Topuria. The former featherweight contender openly claimed he believed the allegations, despite any official ruling. Mitchell went further, stating Topuria should not have custody of his children, and called for him to repent and seek forgiveness. His condemnation was absolute, escalating into a personal attack, dragging Topuria's brother, Alexander, into the mess, even challenging him. Mitchell's inflammatory comments poured gasoline on an already volatile fire, making him Topuria's most vocal critic. Mitchell's outrage culminated in a scathing personal video. Wearing a wife-beater shirt, he addressed Topuria directly, stating, "I got my wife-beater on for Ilia Topuria that puts his hands on a woman." He shared his own childhood experience, adding, "I'd rather not see my dad than have my dad there beating on my mom." He declared Topuria a coward and sickening, telling him he didn't deserve to see his kids. Mitchell's raw, emotional tirade was designed to inflict maximum public damage, pushing the narrative of guilt despite Topuria's denial and legal fight. The intensity of Mitchell's attack stemmed from a personal history with Topuria, dating back to 2022. Both were undefeated prospects, but their matchup ended with Topuria submitting Mitchell in the second round, handing him his first professional loss. Their careers then diverged dramatically. Topuria soared to championship gold, while Mitchell struggled to regain momentum, going 2-2 in his next 4 fights before dropping to bantamweight. Mitchell's condemnation felt like more than just moral outrage. It carried the bitterness of a fighter whose career trajectory had been decisively altered by his rival. In stark contrast to Mitchell, Paddy Pimblett, Topuria's long-standing rival, unexpectedly softened his tone. Despite years of heated exchanges and controversial comments, including a past tweet about Georgia that offended Topuria, Pimblett publicly wished his rival well. He stressed Topuria's personal life had nothing to do with their eventual fight, putting their bad blood aside. Topuria acknowledged Pimblett's ability to entertain and professionalism, hinting that maturity comes from learning through mistakes, suggesting a mutual, albeit grudging, respect emerging. While sympathetic, Pimblett was also candid about the implications of Topuria's prolonged absence. He openly stated his belief that if Topuria could not return by summer, the champion might be forced to vacate the belt entirely. This scenario, Pimblett noted, would then open the door for him to become undisputed champion without ever sharing the cage with Topuria himself. This possibility added a layer of practical intrigue to the interim title fight with Gaethje, framing it not just as a temporary measure, but a potential path to undisputed glory for the baddie. As the interim title fight loomed, experts weighed in. Tony Ferguson, who had fought both men, focused less on skills, more on psychology. From his perspective, Gaethje carried significant emotional scars from multiple past title opportunities. Another interim championship fight could reopen old wounds, affecting his performance. Pimblett, by contrast, brought fresh, unburdened excitement. Ferguson believed neither fighter was unbeatable, but felt this subtle emotional weight could tilt the scales, making the mental game crucial for victory. Luke Thomas offered a more clinical breakdown, viewing the matchup as a rare opening for Pimblett to briefly touch gold. He argued that with younger, more dangerous monsters like Arman Tsarukyan and a returning Topuria looming, Pimblett did not match up well against the division's elite. Gaethje, while still formidable, was further along and more predictable. Thomas leaned towards Gaethje, questioning Pimblett's ability to endure sustained pressure over 5 rounds or effectively control him on the ground to secure victory, highlighting clear stylistic challenges. Eddie Alvarez, having experienced Gaethje's relentless style firsthand, stressed the critical importance of Pimblett's preparation. He argued that Pimblett would require a radically different training environment to truly be ready for Gaethje's intensity, which he claimed cannot be simulated easily. Alvarez warned that if Pimblett trained as usual, the sheer shock of Gaethje's unyielding pace and devastating collisions could overwhelm him before any necessary adjustments. The former champion emphasized that this was a test unlike any Pimblett had faced before. Zooming out, Matt Brown used UFC 3034 as an example to critique the sport's direction. He lamented what he saw as a monopoly, where a single promoter owns titles and rankings, questioning its long-term impact. Brown expressed concern that this system, often prioritizing entertainers over legitimate athletes, could compromise the sport's longevity. He highlighted that true athletic talents, like Olympic wrestlers, might be deterred by pressure to create social media skits rather than focusing on being the best. The promotion's choices, he implied, jeopardize the meritocracy that underpins authentic competition. At the heart of this swirling storm remains Ilia Topuria, a champion sidelined awaiting his legal battle's resolution. He insists that once personal matters are resolved, he will immediately notify the USC and begin planning his triumphant return. Yet, the lightweight division continues to spin forward without its king, reshaped by interim belts, reignited rivalries, and unanswered questions. Whether Topuria reclaims his throne or tragically watches it slip away, will not only define his individual career, but fundamentally alter the trajectory of one of the UFC's most compelling divisions for years to come.